Hello again. Here I am, back in my room. I want to talk to you today about practice techniques, and I'm afraid to say that most of what I'm going to say will be most relevant to violinists and viola players and maybe cellists a bit, but still hopefully helpful to everyone. So my first thought is when you're embarking on learning something new, you first of all you want to figure out how it goes, don't you? And these days I think we have it a lot easier because nearly everything that you want to learn, maybe not studies, but a lot of what you want to learn is kind of out there, and you can probably find some sort of recording of it. So that's a bit of a, I think probably about 10 years ago I thought that was cheating. I've decided it's not cheating, it's just a help. It's a help. And obviously embarking on something like the Brahms concerto, obviously there's so many recordings out there. I've known it for very many years and loved it, and always thought I couldn't possibly play that, it sounds far too difficult. And then madly I've obviously gone on and played Mendelssohn and Elgar and Sibelius, and I kind of thought, well, they're all hard as well, and I've managed them, so maybe I could do it. So when I embarked back on this right back in March last year, I kind of just started at the beginning and tried to figure out how to do it. And I think that's my first point really in terms of practicing things, is figure out how to do it. Now that sounds very, very simple, doesn't it? But actually that's not really what I mean. I mean you've got to really take it apart and analyse what you have to do to make it happen. And it may be that you can't do initially, you can't to begin with do what you have to do. I'll just take an example. So right near the beginning of the Brahms, it's a famous sort of introduction for lots of violinists, and it's a sort of it sounds a lot harder than it is because it's just kind of glorified arpeggios. But then there's one little tiny bit which has to go along a fair old lick, and it's double notes and it's shifting and it's all the rest of it. So let me tell you, this is how I went to begin with. It's supposed to go like that, like I just sang. And to begin with, well, for several weeks I think I was doing it like this. Oh, no. It took me a long time to work out that was the fingering I wanted to actually do. I was studying the fingering that it had printed and trying to figure out how that was going to work. Now the next one is the same sort of pattern, but you've got to do it in a different position because it doesn't work like that. And then the next one. And the last one. Now, none of those are still perfectly in tune, even at that speed, and they're going to have to go do. So it's a long old process, and then after that comes. So that's triplets, and that wasn't very good. I can do it better than that, but I didn't do it better than that right then. So obviously a lot more practice to be done there. But again, I had to figure out. I had to be able to go. And then. So that's diminished seventh stuff, which is very common, but obviously not very easy. Not easy to do well in tune. So, and that's just on the first page, and there's 12 pages of it. So, having said that, once you've done some work, hopefully, if you do the right kind of work, it will sort of stick, and then gradually build it up. So that comes my next sort of general point is go slowly. Go slowly, and don't try and build it up too fast. Make sure that you can, and also I say this a lot to my pupils, it's never too late to go back to doing it slow again. Even if you've got it going fast, go back to slow again. So that's my other thing. That always go back to going slowly again, and that's because I've just shown you that that's still not really very well in tune. even when I do it slowly. And in fact, that's probably why, because I've been doing it faster recently. And then I've gone back to doing slowly, and it shows up where the cracks are. So go back to slow, go faster, yes, but then go back to slow again and build it up slowly, build up in pieces, build it up by stopping in, just in very small sections, stopping at relevant notes, shift notes, whatever. So it's a very, very painstaking analytical process, particularly obviously learning something really sort of involved and complicated like this. But at every level, that is kind of what it boils down to. If you're finding something difficult, analyse why, and then try and figure out how to make your fingers do what they need to do. Ask for advice if you're not sure. How should I go about that? And then thirdly, in terms of practice techniques, when you actually sort of decided this is what I'm going to do, really try and be incredibly disciplined about not just playing. Don't just play the bits that you like or play the bits that you sort of feel that you sound nice in, much as that's kind of nice to do. And every now and then it is good to just play something through. But when there's still work to be done, try and be really disciplined and do the work. And then, my last particular point really is kind of when you get beyond all of that and you've kind of learnt the notes and then you're really shaping it. And I know Steve's done this one about phrasing recently. Now with string playing, phrasing, shaping, sound production, all of that all comes from the bow. That's where we make our sound. So practice for the sake of the right hand, practice for the sake of what the bow needs to do to make the kind of sound, the kind of shape that you want. So practice the bowing for the sake of the bowing, to make the bowing that you've got sound good. Figure out what makes the bowing sound good. And try not to restrict yourself to certain places in the bow, or do restrict yourself to certain places in the bow, depending on what you need. But again, get advice. It's really good to discuss these things with people. I had a conversation with Anna Giddy the other day about the tenths in the Brahms. That was, she's excited. She wants to lead whenever that comes. But anyway, we will see. But the work is in progress, and I'm still planning to run this first movement through to whoever would like to listen, probably in 2 weeks' time. So I'm thinking this Saturday at the end of February. I guess that must be the 27th. Maybe we do the 28th. Anyway, I haven't sort of, we haven't tied that down. But if people are interested, then we could do a Zoom meeting and I could play it through. That's a target for me, obviously. But still haven't seen anybody on a Wednesday night, but that offer's still open, and it doesn't matter either way. So if you're floundering a bit and you want a bit more sort of help, encouragement, whatever, or just a bit of advice about fingering or bowing or whatever it is, I'd be happy to do that, or just to say hello. Okay, best wishes everyone. Hope you're coping okay, and I'm going to go out for a really cold walk now, before the weather breaks and it gets kind of milder again. All right, okay, that's bye for now.